they can't interpret the name Jesus. And I'm using the name Jesus for a reason, because we start off in the scriptures with Jesus. You read the New Testament, and it speaks about the Messiah. Let's deal with the King James Version. It says Jesus, right? All the other English versions, the other versions of the Bible, ESV, what's some other one? The KJV. You know, there's many of them. The Geneva, just to name a few. When you go to any of these scriptures or these interpretations of the Bible, you'll come across the word Jesus. If you go to the blue letter, and we're going to do that, you go to the blue letter, you look up the word Jesus, and they're going to give you the Greek way of saying Jesus, which I'll show you in a minute, but then it goes from the Greek into the original Hebrew. In the blue letter, the word is Yahweh Shawai, Yahweh Shawai. Then when you go back to the Old Testament, it tells you about Joshua. Joshua is the same word as Jesus in the New Testament, English. And they even break down that Moses gave Joshua the name Joshua or Yahushai. The name that he was born with, Joshua's name, was Yahushai or Hosea. The king of Israel, he had the split northern kingdom, southern kingdom. When the Assyrians under Shalmaneser V took down the northern kingdom, the king of Israel at that time was a man by the name of Hosea. I believe he was an Ephraimite. If you know, I'm not going to look for it. You can put it up there. But he wasn't a Judite. He was a king of Israel, the northern kingdom. His name was Hoshea or Hawashai, the same as Joshua, the second behind Moses. You had Moses, Joshua, Aaron. Like I said, when you go to the blue letter and you look up Joshua, the Moses Joshua, the time that Joshua was living during the time of Moses, his name, his born name, his given name was Hosea or Hosea, and Yah, the prefix Yah, was added to his name. So I said all of that just to show you this clown right here, Vocab Malone. And I kind of skipped around. I'm like 38 minutes in. I couldn't stomach the crap that he was saying. Everything. You want a good laugh, you just watch. If you can stomach it, you can watch it all the way through. And then this is why we don't take this guy seriously. Anyway, the name of this video is Napa and Vocab Debate the Bible. And he got a boot, and he got the emoji of us, somebody licking, meaning licking the boot. So he says that we're not going to do that in the kingdom. And what that means is they're going to be under us. There will be subjects, slaves. A better word is slave. There will be slaves under us. It's not so much saying that they're just going to be licking our feet, but that's poetic for they're going to be under us. Now you can say, I want you to lick my feet. They have to lick your feet because you own them. See, this guy, this clown right here, he doesn't want to, like I said, try to watch this, and you may want to do, a response to this video. Anyway, we come to the 38 mark, and he starts talking about, Jesus. I'm gonna use the word Jesus. And he interprets or breaks down the name to be, I think he says Yahweh delivers. And the blue letter says the same damn thing. It doesn't say that. The angel Gabriel, when he told Joseph and Mary to name their son Jesus, the angel Gabriel broke down what it meant. He said, name him Jesus, for he, Yah, will save his people from their sin. They'll take Yah and say, Yahweh saves. No, it doesn't mean Yahweh saves. It means he saves. The name Yahweh, the Yah in Yahweh, the prefix Yah in Yahweh is he. Howah means to be. Or another way of translating it or saying it is he is, or he is present. That's what the name of the Most High means. It simply means he is, or he to be, meaning he's there. Anywhere you go into the future, the Most High is there. You go to the beginning of time, the Most High is there. So that's the perfect name for the Most High. He is. A billion years from now, guess what? He is. So anyway, let's listen to this fucking clown here break down, and that's what they were taught. And like I said, I'm going to go into the blue letter too, and they teach the same thing, the same way. They break it down, interpret it, break it down, go to the etymology of the word, etymology of the word, and they break it down totally wrong. And that's why I said in previous videos, I said sometimes the blue letter goes off. So you guys that run to the blue letter, oh, the blue letter said it. Well, the blue letter is not always correct. Another example, I did a video and I broke down the name Israel, the angel giving the blessing to Yaquab. And he said, I'm paraphrasing, I'm not, saying it off the top of my head. It says, your name is no longer Jacob, but from now on, your name is Israel. And then the angel says, I'm not going to go to it, but as the angel says, for as a prince, you rule with God. You can actually read it and say it exactly how it's said, but that's something what he did. That's somewhat what he said. Matter of fact, let me go to it. Let me go to it. Let me do it this way. Jacob's ladder. Jacob's ladder. I want to go to the actual verse, not the movie. Let me do it this way. Jacob's ladder. Jacob's ladder Bible. Okay. Genesis 28, verse 10. Let me jump down to where it says Israel. Okay, I can't believe it. Wait a minute. Maybe I'm going off. Wait a minute. Let me come back. Okay, let me come back to that. Let me put in Jacob. Jacob's dream. I'm sorry, forgive me. Jacob is blessed by an angel. Okay, they should give me the verse. Okay, I found it. Genesis 32, verse 29. Genesis 32, verse 29. Go right to the point. 27 verse. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince, for as a prince hast thou power with the Most High, with men, and have prevailed. So the angel called him Jacob, and then he told him what the name means. He said, you will not be called Jacob, Yahweh, which means supplanter, but your name will be now called, which is the blessing that the angel gave him, Israel, for as a prince hath power with God. When you break that word down, interpret that word, Israel, Yah meaning he, Shah meaning prince. That's why the angel said prince as a prince, and El meaning power or God. So the word Israel is Yasher Allah, he prince God, or he is a prince with God. That's why we're blessed. So now when you go to the blue letter and you click on Israel, they're not even going to use the word prince. And like I said, I did this in a previous video. Yasha Allah, Yasha Allah. Israel equals God prevail. Wrong. The second name of Jacob, Penuel, the name of the descendant of the nation, Solomon, the name, but they're saying this is what it means. God prevails. It does not mean God prevails. It does not mean God prevails. It means he, Prince, God. Yah, he, Shah, Prince, God. He rule, he Prince of God. He Prince with God. But not no damn God prevails. That shows you that the blue letter goes off. So now let me let you listen to this master regurgitator, Vocab Malone. So listen up. And the thing about Vocab, when he says something, he's so convinced that he has it right, and we got to listen to him. All he's doing is regurgitating what he learned in that particular theological cemetery that he went to. So listen up. I hope you can hear it.
People who make the same kind of claims you made, which is they try to say, "Oh, look, Jesus is actually Zeus," or say something like that. No, that's not correct. Right, but people say that with the same kind of.
We don't say that. We don't say that.
You just said that.
But Jesus is Yahshua. Did you just show that?
Here's a good book about people who make the claim that Jesus is based on a pagan resurrection. It's not true, but
the name, not the person.
No, because okay, check this out. We have what are called
transliterations.
No, inscriptions. Let's start off with one. Inscriptions that are on what are called ossuaries, right? Mm-hmm. So an ossuary is like this little box. It looks like it's made out of cement if you look at it, but it's really just a stone box, right? Mm-hmm. And in it are bones. So it's the non-technical name is a bone box. These are all over Israel, especially around Jerusalem. And what they would do is the Jews would actually rebury people. So they buried originally in the larger tombs. The bigger your tomb, the richer you are, type of thing, or richer you are, bigger tomb. And then they would go in about a year later after you decompose, so there's no more flesh. Mm-hmm. And then they would collect the bones and then put your bones in a bone box. Mm-hmm. And then when they would do that, they would,
which is correct. Not many people know that. For example, when the Lord told somebody to follow him, and the individual replied, "Let me go bury my father." Now, what scholars say, it doesn't go into it in the scriptures, but it makes sense. I'll go with it. That the man that said, "Let me go bury my father," his father died about a year ago, according to what the scholars say. When the flesh, disappears, decomposes, you have the bones left, the skeleton, and you put it in a box. You put your name on there, and you put it in the sepulcher. All right, that's why Peter said in Acts the 2nd chapter, "Is not David with us?" Because the sepulcher, David was in that particular sepulcher. So Peter was in front of that sepulcher saying, "Is not David still in that?" If you go into the box, it'll say Dawayad. And he didn't realize that Peter, that was David talking about himself over 2,000 years ago. Closer to 2,000, 2,900, almost 3,000 years. I'm sorry, from the time that Peter spoke, that was about 900 years ago. Okay, so that's something that scholars have said. It makes sense. I'll go with that. So when the man said, "Let me go bury my father," his father was already dead. What should be there to get you to understand, "Let me go rebury my father." Let me take the bones, put the bones. Remember, they carried Jacob's bones, they carried Israel's bones, Isaac's bones. They carried those bones into Egypt. Okay, so now let's listen. So guess what? Vocab gets a point on that one. based upon, scholars. I agree. I somewhat agree with that. It makes sense. So you gotta know all the little fine details, because when you're dealing with these scholars, this is what they're gonna come with. They're gonna come with when you bring out the Apocrypha, they'll basically say that that's not accepted text. Like the King James is known as, they say it's accepted text, which is what's the term? A textus receptus, which means that the text is, we agree that this is the text to use. Let me go prove that real quick. Let me see if I can write it. Texas. Bear me for a minute. Receptus. Hope I wrote it right. Okay. Texas. Receptus. KJV. Let me do this. KJV. Let's see what happens. Okay, here it is. Texas. I spelled it wrong. Receptus. The biblical textus receptus constitutes the translation base for the original German Luther Bible. The translation of the New Testament in English by William Tyndale, the King James Version. The Spanish, I don't got to read the rest of this. Let me do this. How can I write this? How can I write this? Is the KJV Texas Receptus? Maybe I phrase it wrong. What Bible versions are based on the Textus Receptus? They mention the King James, which means it's accepted text. That's why we use it. Oh, that's vocab, that knucklehead. Oh, that's the worst version you can use. If we were using the Tinsdale Bible, he'd probably say, well, the Tinsdale Bible, you should be using the King James. It said the recently published LSV Bible, I got to go into that. What's that all about? From Covenant Press, has charted a fundamentally different course than the 20th and 21st century critical text translations. The new liberal standard version, but now we got to go into that. The new literal standard version is based on the Textus Receptus, in line with early Geneva Bible and King James. So the King James Bible is accepted text, is Textus Receptus. So now let me look into the this new Bible. let me put in online. Online. Let's see if it comes up. I doubt if it even comes up, but let's see. Okay, Little Standard Version. Matter of fact, let's go into the history of it. The literal standard version is a modern English translation of the proto-canonical books of the Bible with a number of distinctive features. It describes itself as the most literal translation of the Bible into the modern English language. The first edition was published in this Bible's 2 years old. It goes Esau coming up with another version of the Bible to confuse the people. So now if somebody mentions LSV, literal standard version, you know what the hell they're talking about. So now let me see if I can go online with this thing. I probably can't, because I damn sure ain't gonna buy it. Okay, I don't see it online. Let me try this. Anyway, let's come back over here. So now if a so-called Christian scholar jumps up and mentions the LSV, you know, you have some information on it. If they mention the term Textus Receptus, you know what that means. And you can tell them that the King James, as well as the Geneva Bibles, are accepted texts. So we can use that version. If they don't like it, they can walk down the street. Anyway, let's come back to and you know what, Vocab Malone, you know, we talk about him and shit. We say he's a clown, but he's needed. You know why? Because he keeps you sharp. He brings out these other things and it keeps you sharp. So let's listen. Let's listen.
Write the name of the person inside it. Here's the reason why I say that. We're able to study these and look at these, and it's one of the ways we know what names are popular in first century Jerusalem and the first century Israel, because they could read the name on the bone box. Basically,
you had historians, archaeologists, scholars get together and get actual evidence to back up the scriptures, right? They can do all that research and they can go to Mount Ararat. They can do this, but when it comes to what does an Israelite look like, it can't do it. What does an Edomite look? Oh, we don't know what an Edomite looks like. And there's the Antipater, which is an Edomite, famous Edomite, the father of Herod the Great. There's a bust of Antipater. Let's go to that. And to Peter. Okay, Antipater the Idumean. Okay, which one is Antipater? Okay, this right here. Okay, this is Antipater of Macedon, a different Antipater. This is a different Antipater, I believe, but if you notice, they all have so-called white features. Okay, let's see if this is, well, Antipater has Antipater. Bear me for a minute. Good, beautiful. History, Antipater. Eminence, Greece, what is it? Greece, I believe you say it. Part 7, the Herodian dynasty. This guy doesn't look like he doesn't look like a Mexican. You see they wave the hair, the straight hair, the features of the face. He looks like an Edomite. He looks like an Edomite, a so-called white person. Now, I couldn't show you his sons and his daughters because they would look like they're Jakes. He has a classic, what you would call the Jewish nose. Which Antipater is this? This looks like the same guy. Oh, that's Lasamacus. That's Antigonus. Cassandra. They look like they're Edomites, man. They're white people. Alexander the Great. Antigonus again. Alexander, you can see that they all have white European features. So they can go as far back as, dig up a bust of Alexander, the Greek, the Great. Here he is right here, and here he is again. Alexander the Great, Alexander the Great. And like I said, they found the bust of Antipater. Well, right there, they're saying these Lasameas, but they look all European. So guess what? What does an Edomite look like? Let's click on this to show you that they know they got an actor to play Antipater. Look at him. Red all over like a hairy garment, and they call his name Esau. Antipater is an Edomite. They tell you it in the history. Antipater, the Edomite. Let me go back. Okay, Antipater the Idumean, which is Greek for Edomite. Herod the Great Father. Antipater the Idumean. Let's look up the word Idumean. Y'all have been in this thing, 10, 13, 14, 15 years. You know all of this. This is for more than newer people that come in. You got to know this because you got to kind of think like a scholar. You got to know some history. You don't have to know every aspect of being a historian and all that, and an archaeologist, and but you got to know some of it. When you deal with these devils, which are so-called scholars that dig things up, you got to kind of know how the enemy operates. And this is a spiritual war. Okay, so I clicked on Idumean, right? What is the meaning of Idumean? Let's see what it says. A native of or inhabitant of Idumea. Now we got to look up Idumea. Is Edom and Idumea the same? Edom and Idumea are two related but distinct terms. They relate to the historically contiguous population, but to two separate, if adjacent territories, which the Edomites, Idumeans, same people, occupied in different periods of their history. Let me click on that. So you tell me, oh, Israelites never existed. Well, guess what? So Edomites existed. Where did Edom come from? You have, let me get my bearings straight. Okay, you have Moab, you have Judah, and you have the kingdom of Edom. And you have Petra down here. And that famous picture, when you go to Petra, it looks like something out of the Roman Empire or Washington, D.C. So you can't get around this. See, this guy, Vocab, thinks that the Edomites, well, he thinks that the Edomites are done away with. I guess he must have met the last Edomite in his dying words. The Edomite said, oh, Vocab, I'm going to go. It's been a nice life and I'm going. I don't know where I'm going to go. Goodbye. And he drops dead. So this clown Vocab records it along with his scholars. This is the last Edomite. Well, guess what? Edomite mixed himself with the people too, just like Israel. Hadad, the son of the king of Edom, during the time period of David and Joab, he fled with other Edomites to Egypt. And he laid down with the king of Egypt at that time's wife's sister and had at least one child. So guess what? Among the so-called Egyptians, you have Edomites that look like, Edomites that look like Africans. So they mingle their seed, man. So what the hell are you talking about? You're gonna have Edomites looking just like Jake. Case in point, Herod the Great and his children, because Antipater laid down with a relative of the Maccabees. He laid down with the royal, one of the women of the royal, because some of the Maccabees clan, they sold out. As a matter of fact, they converted Edomites to practicing the law, statutes, and commandments. That's another reason why they think that they're the people of the Lord. They didn't just come out of the Kazakh Empire. So now let's go here. I didn't want to make this long, but it's getting long. So let's listen to a little bit more. I want to get to the part where he says Jesus.
The people who died. Ben Witherington has a great book that he co-wrote with Herschel Shanks, the editor of Biblical Archaeology magazine that covers a lot of this. And when you look, as well as Craig Evans, so when you look, you see, oh, these ossuaries tell us the commonality of certain names.
But they don't know nothing about the Edomites. They don't know what happened to the Edomites. Where did the Edomites go? Why don't they know, or claim that they don't know? Because they know they are the Edomites. They know they are the Edomites, and they know who the Israelites are.
Here's the point with that. Euseus, which is Yeshua, was super common, and here's why.
Yeah, Euseus is a Greek way of saying the Lord's name.
Joshua basically means deliverer. Basically, Yahweh will deliver us. Everybody wanted.
He went off. I'll let you listen to that again. He went off.
Joshua basically means deliverer. Basically, Yahweh will deliver us. Everybody wanted their kid to be the Messiah. Super incredible common name during that time. My point is,
and I agree with that, but let's listen to this again.
Joshua basically means deliverer. Basically, Yahweh will deliver us. Everybody wanted. You
heard what he said, right? You heard what he said. He said Joshua basically means deliverer. Then he said, let me let you listen to it again.
Which is Yeshua was super common, and here's why. Joshua basically means deliverer. Basically, Yahweh will deliver us.
So he said Joshua, which is in the Hebrew, Yahushai, means Yahweh will deliver. You heard him, right? You heard him say that, right? We know that Joshua or Yahushai or Yeshua, we say Yahushai, we believe that's the correct way of pronouncing it, is broken down into Yah, the prefix Yah for he, and Yah, Hawashai just means deliverer. That's all it means, deliverer. Let me show you something. That's why I say this a lot. The Apostle Paul says this a lot more than me. He said the names are important. The name of the Father is important. The name of the Son is important. Names are important. So if you know the name, Most High gave his secrets unto his servants, right? The prophets. If we claim to be prophets, then we're supposed to know all the secrets. Should not we know the name of the Most High and the name of his Son? The Most High says through the scriptures, call on his name, or you cannot get through to the Father except by me. Was that John 4? What is that? John 14, I believe, 14 and 6. Anyway, where was I going to go? Okay, let me put in the word Jesus, the name Jesus. So you heard what he said, right? Matthew's 1:1. Well, okay, Jesus. Watch what the blue letter is going to do. So this is the Greek, right?
Strong's G 2424. Jesus. Jesus.
Now, the Latin tribes, if they call on Jesus, they don't use the letter J. They say, they'll pretty much say the same thing. Jesus or Jesus, Jesus, which goes back to the Greek for saying Jesus, which they're way the hell off. So right here, it says H30 verse 9, H30 91. Yah ha wa sha y. It shouldn't be the wa shouldn't be there in between the sha and the I. And they even know that. Because let me see if I can find it. Okay, let me do it this way. Okay, so right here, variant spelling for this word, Yahweh Y, Strong's and Jessenius, Yahweh Shai. That's the right way of saying it, which is Joshua. So now let's come back over here. Look what it said. Look at what they say it means. Jesus or Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is salvation. That's wrong. all right? Or Yahweh is the deliverer. That's what vocab said. They're both wrong. The Yah in Yahushai is not the name for Yahweh. Yah is he, and Yahushai just means deliverer. Like I said, you veterans in this thing, you know about this. You already know about this. This is for some of the newer people. Like I said, if a so-called Christian scholar rolls up on you and he gets into this argument, you know how to deal with him. Let's listen to a little bit more. And with vocab, he's either hit or miss. Sometimes he gets it right, sometimes he goes off. Oh, what did the angel say? Let me come back over here. Let me go to Matthew. Matthew 1. Let me go to the word Jesus. (21). So this is the angel Gabriel coming to him and saying, you're going to name your son Jesus. And he said, Yahusha. He said, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he is the Yah, shall save or deliver his people from his sins. Jesus doesn't mean he shall deliver his people from their sins. Jesus means he save, he deliverer. So how did you get the name of the Most High in the name of Jesus? Let me start from the 20th verse. Matthew 1, verse 20. But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of the Lord, which was Gabriel, appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, or Yahweh, thou son of David, thou art Yad. What did it mean by him being the son of David? Because he was actually the son of Jacob. But he came from the loins of the seed, the lineage of David. And the prophecy can only be fulfilled if the Lord came on the scene and he went around saying he was from the tribe of Benjamin. He's not the Messiah. He has to be from the tribe of Judah, but he just can't be of the tribe of Judah. He has to be a part of the direct lineage or the direct lineage of David through who? Joseph. Joseph is the direct lineage of David. It says, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife. Why did he say marry thy wife? Because they had sex. Isaac took Rebekah off the camel, took her into Sarah's tent. They never met each other. 2 minutes ago, they didn't know each other. She said, who is that man? That is my master. You know, he just grabbed her because it was already arranged. And she couldn't say no. If she had said no, he could have raped her, which he did anyway. It said he took her off the camel, took her in the tent, you know, ungarmented her, undressed her, and undressed himself, and he went into her. And then it said, and she became his wife. Things are different back there. That's why a lot of you Israelites, when that whole grape thing came out, all the emotion just came out of nowhere. All you guys got emotional. Hell, Sakari's still emotional when they know that what we said is correct in the scriptures. Most High ain't dealing with emotional men. Meaning we all get emotions, but you got to curb. Oh, who was that? I believe that was Ezekiel. I'm not going to go into it. That's a whole nother topic. Ezekiel, the Most High told Ezekiel, I'm going to kill your wife. And when I kill your wife, don't mourn. Just deal with it. And he had to deal with it. Now, the backstory is another topic. So the Lord said, look, I'm going to kill your wife. And you better not get emotional about it. I don't want you crying. I don't want you thinking about her. You just move on. You're a prophet. You ain't here for your wife. You're here for me. It says, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived. And this was before the wedding. So the wife didn't happen because they jumped over the broom of matrimony, holy matrimony. He popped her before they had the ceremony. So guess what? She became his wife. For that which is conceived, and conception or to be conceived only comes from the act of sex. In her is of the Holy Spirit. Now you got the Roman Catholics as well as vocab, because he's nothing but a reformed Roman Catholic. Do you know John the Baptist also was conceived of the Holy Spirit? Read that in Luke. I believe that's Luke 2. Read Luke 1 and 2. Meaning the Spirit was on this child. He was a special child. And she shall bring forth a son. This is the angel speaking. And thou shalt call his name. He said Yahusha. And then he broke down what it meant. For he, Yah, shall save Yahusha, his people, from their sins. So what the hell are these guys talking about? Let's listen to a little bit more before I close.
Everybody wanted their kid to be the Messiah. Super incredible common name during that time. My point is, Yehusha, which is the Greek transliteration of the Hebrew word, which is really Joshua in English, but which is really Yehoshua or Yeshua as a shortened form. It's just a Jewish name through and through. It's Hebrew, and it means Yahweh will deliver. And my point is, by saying that, is you can go.
You heard it. You heard it, right? He said Yahweh will deliver. It does not mean Yahweh will deliver, because if it had meant that the angel Gabriel would have told him, "You shall call his name Yahushua, for Yahweh will deliver." It doesn't say that. It said because he will deliver. Oh, look at this guy. He's wearing the Italian horn. He's wearing the leprechaun staff. This guy's a demon.
Look at the bone boxes, and you'll see Yeshua all over these bone boxes,
Right.
as well as other names that appear in the Bible.
And what year was that?
But these are what's during the period of what's called Second Temple Judaism. So this is after the completion of what's called the Second Temple. So prior to Jesus'
Hebrew.
last time and before the
Israel.
destruction of Jerusalem. Yeah.
Okay, not in Greece.
No. These bone boxes I mentioned are in Israel. We're not finding. I don't think Jews have the ability to really do this kind of thing in other countries.
Right.
And sometimes we find them accidentally. Like one of the finds they found.
Catacombs.
Yeah, it was kind of funny that modern day Israel was going to build some water park or something and was bulldozing over a place and actually stumbled upon a cache of these bone boxes.
Wow.
So that kind of thing happens. It's a fascinating archaeological study. But my point is, Yeshua is a super, super Hebrew name, and Hebrew moms.
And I guarantee you, they took out them bones like they always do. They took out the bones. They took the forehead, and they did. I don't know what the actual term is. They'll fill in the face, and guess what? The face had Negro features, but they don't want. They said, no, we ain't gonna talk about that. They know through their science, through their technology. Jeremiah 8 verse 2. Start at 1. Jeremiah 8 verse 1 and 2. They shall dig up the bones of the kings and the prophets and the priests, and they shall put them before the sun, the moon, and the star, meaning their technology. They're gonna put them under the microscope. So they know, they have all the information. What we're saying, they know everything that we're saying, they know. Oh, yep, the Negroes are the Israelites. The Puerto Ricans are the tribe of Ephraim. The people of North, Central, and South America, when Columbus and these Edomites came over here, they encountered Israelites. That's why Columbus, what's the guy's name? Torres, Del Torres. I got to look it up. Please forgive me. If I'm going too long, if I'm being long-winded, you move on to another video, all right? Del Torres. And let me put in Columbus. Columbus. Let's see what happens. Let's go to all. Luis de Torres, Jewish explorer, interpreter. Let me do it this way. No, let me do it this way. Oh yeah, that's a quote. Columbus could not put his sword down, not for an hour. Yeah, because there was a spirit on him. He kind of wanted to have compassion on him, but the spirit said, nope, kill him. Luis de Torres, I put Del, but de Torres. Let me erase that. Interpreter to Columbus. I got to put 4. Let's see what comes up. Did you mean Luis de Torres, interpreter to Columbus? Yes. Let's see what it says. Luis de Torres died 1493. Was Christopher Columbus' interpreter on his first journey to America. De Torres was a converso, apparently born Yosef, which is Yahusap, Ben, which is Ben, Yahusap, Bun, Halevi, or the Levite, chosen by Columbus for his knowledge of Hebrew, Chaldaic, and Arabic. Arabic is nothing but Hebrew. When this guy, the guy that put together the Ben Yehudi English, Hebrew, English dictionary, he came to the conclusion that the Ishmaelite people, the Arab people in the land, the language that they were speaking, that's the original Hebrew. But then he put the modern Hebrew together based upon the Arabic. In Arabic, how do you say father? You say Abu. How do you say in Hebrew? Abba. How do you say in Arabic? How do you say son? You say Ibn. In Hebrew is Bun. When they called on God, they called on Allah. One of the names of the Most High is Allah, Allah Shadya. So they know. So why did Christopher Columbus bring this guy? And then the next year he dropped dead. Now, had Columbus went to the New World in 1494, guess what? Luis de Torres would still been living because he was needed. He did what he had to do, and the Most High said, okay, boom, we don't need you no more. Take him out the picture. And then a few years later, and I believe it was 1505 AD, that Columbus was taken out. And then when you read about the Columbus, man, they venerated this guy so much, they buried him all over the place. They took him to America, they buried him, they dug him back. What do you call that? Damn, what's the word when you pull out a dead body? Damn, I can't even think of the word. It's right on the tip of my tongue. but it's to excavate, but there's another word for it. Exhume. So they exhumed the body, they brought it back to Spain. Then they took it back to the, what is it? What's that island, Haiti and Dominica? The Dominican island is known as Hispaniola. So they took them, they kept, that's how these devils are. They said, well, let's pick them back up and let's take them over here. And let's take them, okay, let's get, nope, we got to dig them back up and take them over back to America. They honored this man even in his death. But he was a very important man. Why? Because that's the fulfillment of Revelation, the 20th chapter. When you read Revelation, the 20th chapter, you got to mention Christopher Columbus. Deceived the world once again. Came out of the bottomless pit through Christopher Columbus. So this guy, his top interpreter, spoke Hebrew, Chaldaic, which is an ancient language that when you go back to the Mid-East, they spoke that language, the people, the Chaldees, the Babylonians, the Assyrians. Because the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, was an Assyrian. He wasn't an Ethiopian. And high priest Ari, I should say, well, he was an Ethiopian, he was a Cushite. He was not a Cushite. He was an Assyrian. And Arabic, which is nothing but Hebrew. You have Syriac. You have a Bible called the Syriac Bible, which is nothing but like an Arabic form of Hebrew. So let's come back. Let's listen to a little bit more, and then we'll close.
Love the name they're saying that because they're like, my son's gonna be Messiah when he grows up, because they understood the name means Yahweh will deliver, and so that's what they were hoping for.
He went off again. The clown went off again. It's not Yahweh will deliver. It's he deliver. He deliver. But they tell you that in the cemetery, and you know, you're a master regurgitator. You read all this book right here. If you read this book, and these guys are hit or miss.
Right. I don't really beat people up over the actual name they use because of, you know.
That's okay. That's a sidetrack anyway.
Yeah, but what if somebody, what the importance of a name is, what if somebody said your name the wrong way? You know? What if you tell somebody my name is Joe and they call you Josie, which is like the feminine way of saying Joe, Josie. You're gonna say, look, man, my name is not fucking Josie, my name is Joe. And not part. If they called you by a different name, if they called you out of your name, you're gonna get mad. See, this guy doesn't want to be called by his real name because his last name, Riser, brothers have went to the root of that name, and it goes back to the small hats. So we deem him as being a so-called Ashkenazi small hat.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask you, go ahead, but I'm gonna ask you a question
Yes,
about
sir.
scripture.
Can you find ancient Kemetic teachings?
Man, shut the fuck up with that ancient Kemetic. Don't you take your black ass back to fucking Africa. Don't bring up some of that Kemetic shit comes up around. The last time the Kemetic shit came around was when my parents were young. They wore the dark. I remember when they wore the dark shikis and the plastic Afro picks with the black power sign on it. And they were saying own God with black power. All right, when they started wearing naturals and they started calling it Afros, man. That shit been dead since the motherfucking late 60s, early 70s. It died and it's just coming back. And now one of you niggas gonna go move back to Africa. And you ain't gonna try to wake up them niggas over there in Africa, okay? Because there's two predominant religions in Africa. Number one is Islam and number two is Christianity. That old ancient African spiritualism, maybe 5% of the whole continent. All the motherfuckers are, man, you go to them churches in Africa, man, they all got pictures of Caesar Borgia up there, man. You guys need to pack up and take your asses to Africa and wake them up. Well, we got to bring, where are they Kemetic? Let me let you listen to this again.
Different.
That's okay. That was a sidetrack anyway.
Yeah, no,
It was
I was
fun.
gonna ask you, I was gonna, go ahead, but I'm gonna ask him a question
Yes,
about
sir.
scripture.
Can you find ancient Kemetic teachings
Goddamn well, vocab Malone doesn't know anything about ancient Kemetic teachings.
in the Torah?
There are things that are in Kemet that appear in the Bible or highly similar to them. Yes.
How do you think that is?
There's a few things. One is you got to remember.
Because we were neighbors to the Hebrews. The Hebrews were neighbors to the Kemites. And Kem really just means, the word is chum, which means hot. And it was a name of the second born son of Noah, of Nawak. Noah's name in the Hebrew is Nawak, which means comforter. All right. His oldest son is Yapat, which is Japhet, which means enlarged. High priest Ariah used to say it means beautiful. It does not mean beautiful, it means enlarged, because that was an omen. Yapat was going to go throughout all those islands, you know, the parts of Europe where Esau is today. That's the original people over there was the descendants of Japhet. All right. Then you had the baby, which was Shem or Shum. Shum just means name or put. Let's listen to a little bit more.
Moses is schooled in the wisdom of the Egyptians.
Anyway,
So,
That's true, according to the history, because he's raised up by the Pharaoh's the Pharaoh's daughter. He was raised up. She said, "Oh, the Ra gave me this son," and they didn't say, "Oh, no, I don't believe that," because she didn't bring in a white. She black as tar, and she brought in this baby that was dark. So they said, "Oh, he's an Egyptian and sent from the gods," because they were superstitious people. You know, they believed that shit. She was lying to them. And who raised him up? Moses' mother and Moses' sister. And so he knew he was an Israelite. And then after a point in time, when you go back to the account, he went against, and he had a high ranking because he was the what? He was the supposed daughter of the supposed son of the Pharaoh's daughter. And so he denounced it, and you know the rest of the story. So guess what? We were taking, of course, Kemetic information is in the scriptures. When you go to the biblical map, let me do this. Bible map. Okay, beautiful. That's Egypt. This is Cush. You got Put over there. You got Canaan that was over here. This is the wilderness. So of course, there's a lot to be said in the scriptures about the Kemites.
Acts 7, Stephen says Moses was schooled in the wisdom of the Egyptians. The Bible literally tells you. So anyone who's not saying you guys, obviously you're not, but someone who's surprised, you're like, where do you think where was Moses learning that?
Apostle.
Yeah, where was Moses at? Right? Well, the apostle loves to make fun of, you know, I don't have a PhD, so I don't go around like, oh, I went to seminary. I don't brag about it. They act like I brag about it. I don't brag about it because I was around real scholars. I'm a student of scholars. yeah, I have a master's degree, but what does that mean? It just means you learn how to research better, basically. So I have a master's degree in biblical studies. My point by saying that is he makes fun of me going to seminary, but my goodness, it would help him and some of the other Hebrew Israelites because they could see, wait a minute, it's true. There's Egyptian wisdom literature
Right.
in the book of Proverbs. Some of them are like almost word for word in the book of Proverbs specifically, but there's other places where there's similarities as well. And so sometimes there's debate. Is this Egyptian? Is this not Egyptian? Is this a Hebrew word? Like, for example, the name Moses, there's these different discussions about some of the names of the pharaohs and different things like that. It gets kind of complicated, and you have to become a specialist in certain forms of hieroglyphs to really get into this. But Egypt was a leading cultural production center. Egypt was very powerful influence. The Hebrews spent there. They were influenced by Egypt.
Absolutely. You're right. Because they speak about how they missed the leeks and the garlic and so forth. And they had the mixed multitude in numbers, you know, pretty much agitate them to the point where they want to go back into Egypt, because it was the mixed multitude that wanted to go back into Egypt. So they murmured to Moses. It was them heathens, the mixed multitudes. Because some of them Israelites were marrying among those nations and the Egyptians. Why do you think the Lord said in Deuteronomy, what is that, 6? Is that 6 or 7? I believe it's 7. It was 7, Deuteronomy 7. He said, kill those people in the land, the Canaanites. And he said, don't have your sons marry their daughters and your daughters marry their sons, because Israel was doing that shit. Let's listen to a little bit more.
To a certain extent, Hebrew should be, there's a certain sense in which the Hebrew Bible looks at Egypt as a good place. Sometimes people forget about this.
Oh,
They'll
where's
say,
that at?
well, because it'll say,
Direct us.
because it'll say, hey, be kind to Deuteronomy 23,
Oh,
7, 8,
right.
be kind to the Egyptians that are a stranger in your land, because you were a stranger in their land.
Yeah.
And so it's understood that Egypt, in a way, is a place, because people forget sometimes they think about slavery, and I know we disagree about that, but Joseph was, according to the biblical story, whether you agree or not, he was elevated in the ranks of Israel, and the Egyptians were very kind to them. They brought in the whole family. They brought in the whole family.
No, I like to throw that in.
And that's correct, of course. We were nourished by the Egyptians. We were taken in by the Pharaoh that was friendly with Joseph. So there's no big deal about that. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.